Hey everyone, and welcome to Comic Breakdown. If you're new to the page, be sure to give us a like and a sub so you're not missing any of the content we have coming out. And today we're going to get into something new. Today we're going to be diving into Rorschach, issue number 1. Now this has been highly anticipated since they said they were going to release it. This is Tom King's take, his little run here with Rorschach. Now I don't know too much diving into this. I do know it takes place 30 years in the future. So 30 years have happened since Oz dropped a squid and the events of Dr. Manhattan took place. Now, all of us that have been Watchmen fans for quite a long time, we know that Rorschach is dead. At this point, Rorschach has died. Now, they did have Doomsday Clock. Doomsday Clock introduced us to an individual that was dressed like Rorschach, and it was actually Rorschach's therapist's son who ended up taking up the mantle of Rorschach later on down the line. So we're not sure if this story is going to be following him or if it's going to be following someone else, maybe like a cult following of Rorschach followers. Who knows? But we're going to find out. So without further ado, let's dive into this issue. So diving into this issue, we're immediately met with Rorschach, and he's screaming out a name, Laura, and he's just shot completely up. Chest, face, everything just dropped dead. And we see him standing on a catwalk, or at least laying out, bleeding out on a catwalk with this Laura individual, we have to assume, and a sniper rifle. And it seems to be almost an attempt at a political assassination. And then we cut to two individuals, and they're sitting in a hotel room having a drink, discussing everything that's happened with this case in particular. They're talking about, this would-be assassination, and there's almost attempted assassination. And so really what we're getting is a detective interviewing people on what happened, on who could possibly be responsible for this. Now, picking up with an autopsy, these individuals, neither of them had any ID on them, but they were able to get some fingerprints off of the girl, and her name is Laura Cummings, 19 years old, out of Hanna, Wyoming. And the quote-unquote Rorschach has no fingerprints, or at least none in the system, which means like he didn't have a driver's license or anything like that. Like he's never had his fingerprints taken by the government. The unique thing about it though is his age. He was almost in his late 80s at this point, maybe even a little bit older. It'd be hard for them to ID the individual because he was shot in the face, but they'll try to, do the best they can to figure out who he was. And so really this is an investigation on finding out who exactly these two individuals were, and diving into the masks. The masks were cheap. Even the Rorschach mask was cheap. It was something you could buy at a costume shop. And while he's going over all of this evidence, he's told of some tapes, and they're really interesting to listen to, it, he's told. But not interesting in a sense that makes sense, but interesting in a way that these tapes really don't seem to have any connection to anything going on. But before he listens to the tapes, he goes and talks to the guard that was injured in all of this attack, seemingly by Rorschach. And the guard plays through exactly what happened. They gotten a call that there was somebody on a catwalk, and they thought, maybe it was just like a prank call or something of that nature. But as they make their way and go to clear a room, Rorschach kicks open a door, and these cops really stood no chance. And he unleashes a fury of bullets that take out two of these guards and leave him severely wounded. And he saw as clear as day that it was Rorschach. Now, after this cop is done with this little interview, he goes ahead and listens to the tape. And the tape is really people trying to connect to the spirit world, or talk to their dead relatives, or something of that nature. It all has to do with more or less a medium trying to connect people with their deceased loved ones. And so by all accounts, it literally makes no sense. There's a bunch of different people and a bunch of different names, but not really sure how they're all connected. But one name does stand out, and it's the Pontus Pirate. And pretty much what we find here is William Myerson is our old man. And they had raided his place, and they found a bunch of drawings. He was an artist who drew pirate stuff in the 60s. And he kept drawing, for most of his life. But he was somebody who was really obsessed with Rorschach and Rorschach-inspired artwork and collectors, items, and things of that nature. And there's one last thing, though. You know, all of this evidence seems to be pointing at this guy just being some random old guy who had an infatuation with Rorschach back in the day. But there was one last thing. They sent over Kovacs' prints, Walter Kovacs, the original Rorschach, to compare with the one on the body, and the two sets matched. You know, and he's told to check the clock, you know, that it's 2020, like Rorschach is dead, or is he? That will be where this issue ends. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. So, here they're playing with the idea that Rorschach might not have actually died, and he may have ended up living a life in an apartment alone for the last 30 years. Most Watchmen fans are gonna know that this is not true. This is not the real Rorschach. There's no way this could be Rorschach. It's got to be some kind of cult following that has to deal with Rorschach. Because Walter Kovacs, as we know it, was literally exploded. So what do you guys think? You know, do you think this is going to be a good take on Rorschach? Do you think they're headed in the right direction? What are you looking forward to coming out of this comic? Do you think they're going to step more into the Watchmen world after this? Or if this is going to be like a one and done kind of thing for Tom King? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know where you think this story's going. Let me know what your guys' theories might be on it. And if you guys haven't yet, be sure to like and subscribe to the page. And until the next video,